Happy 4th of July, everyone. I decided to just quickly try to do a dollar bin digging for you this week. I haven't done one in a little bit as I've been trying to get my new Toy Informer channel up and running. So I've kind of neglected some of these favorites that I know you guys like, and I figured I'd try to get one out for you this week. This is the article and video that I do for comicbookinvest.com. Go over there, make sure you check out the article, and hopefully you're enjoying all of the content I have here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below by liking, subscribing, hit that alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Please go over and check out Toy Informer as well if you like toys. And yeah, check out our Discord. And if you haven't given Whatnot a try, first-time users get a free $15 on me to spend on whatever you want with whomever you want. No strings attached. It's free $15 just to give it a try. You will help out the channel, and you get yourself something for free all at the same time. So what do you got to lose? With that all said, I've kind of reformatted the show here because I stole the intro for Dollar Bin Digging for Toy Informer. So we're doing a little revamp version with Dollar Bin Digging. Feels like a good time to do it as this is the 275th episode I've done of this article slash video. I didn't start doing videos until like I was in article like 60 or 68, but yes, 275. That's how many I've done of these over the years. So with that all said, if you want to see what I got for you this week, all you got to do is hang up for a few seconds after the new intro, and I will be right back. All right, so let's see what we've got here, starting off with the news. That's right. We're going to start off with the news items that I found interesting this past week, and we're going to hit up one that I think we've talked about before, but we talked about some different books related to the initial announcement, but we did get an update on the Highlander movie, and that it is still moving forward, and we still will be getting this movie from the makers of John Wick and Henry Cavill. So the director, Chad Stahelski, is going to be making, I'm hoping, an awesome flick. I love the original Highlander, and what could be better than some sword fighting action in the style of John Wick? I'm intrigued and can't wait to see this. But with that said, we've talked about different Highlander books before on this channel, but I don't think I've covered these specific ones. Not to say that this is what they might do, but considering this is a reboot, they might touch on some topics on some of this extra content that we've gotten over the years from the comics, including this series here, Highlander Way of the Sword. This is the story of Connor McLeod searching for Ramirez's katana. So it's kind of a fun story, and it's something I don't think they've tackled in the movies before. So it could be something that they spend a little bit more time on in this new flick. I don't know. Regardless, it's still kind of a fun little story, 4-issue series that has an awesome set of connecting covers. You guys know I like connecting covers, and all of the issues in this one have an A and a B cover that go together. So here's issue 1 from 2008 out of Dynamite. Before Dynamite started doing 90 million covers, they just gave us these two, A and a B, going together like that. Pretty awesome. Kurgan facing off against Connor McLeod. What else do we need here, right? Issue 1, they do the same for, like I said, the whole run. Here's issue 2, modern day Kurgan, modern day McLeod. Boom, again, head to head facing off. I like the kind of a duplication there of the layout again with the two facing off. The next one goes for a little bit of a different style. We hit back up our boy Ramirez, but we still include the Kurgan because he is an important part of this story. And yeah, boom. They go together there. This is issue 3. And then our final issue representing the Quickening. We're going to get this. And as you can kind of guess, just by looking at one cover, you would imagine that there was another one that goes with it. And there is. So the two go together. Boom. Kurgan's head. Maybe not the best rendition of the Kurgan down there in the corner, but still, you get the point. With that all said, this is still a pretty cheap series, this Way of the Sword. You can see here, copies can individually sell as cheap as 79 cents, or you can see full sets going for like 20 bucks. Granted, those sets might only have one set of the covers, and maybe they're mixing and matching, but I'm sure if you go out there digging, you could probably complete both for pretty cheap. Available copies as well. Aren't looking for too much. Copies are like $2, $2.50. Not an expensive series. So again, this is something fun you can go and dig out in those cheap boxes related to, again, some of the news items, rumors, things going on in the comics, etc. That's what I like to talk about here on this show, because I know you guys know to go look for the real treasures. You're hoping to dig and find an ASM 300 or New Mutants 98 when you're at a flea market. But while you're doing that, you can also grab some of this fun stuff too, just to tie into some of the things going on in our greater hobby as it extends to movies and television and things in the comics, etc. One other little set that I think you are probably more interested in, because these ones you might be able to make a few bucks on, is this 2-issue miniseries that came out the next year out of Dynamite. So this is the Kurgan. So this is an origin story for the Kurgan. Pretty cool. I mean, he's a badass villain. 2 issues here, 2009. This is cover for issue 1. I know it looks a little bit like Glenn Danzig, and yeah, I know we can't get Clancy Brown back, but I'm sure we can get a suitable replacement for the new one. Awesome covers here. A and a B. They don't connect, but you do get 2, and only 2. And then on issue 2, same deal. This time you got Connor, and then you know, pretty cool Kurgan here on the B cover for this one. So again, 2 covers a piece. These all do pretty well if you can find them. Either cover for either issue. As you can see here, somebody had a full set with both covers in very fine and near mint for all 4 books, $125. That's worth digging for, right? $125 is worth digging for, because you can see even online individual copies can be anywhere from $17. You see that pair of 1 and 2 for $50, and then it's individually that B cover on issue 2, $50. Like, these things could be marked up all over the place, but the point is they're all worth grabbing if you can find any of the 2 covers for either issue. So get out there and get digging. With that said, our next story, we got a trailer this week for the new Hellboy. Yes, they are rebooting Hellboy again. I like the Ron Perlman movies, both of them. I like the David Harbour version as well. Now we're getting a whole new version. So Jack Kesey, I don't know how to say his name, takes over. He does have a more Mignola look to him. He's not as bulky as Hellboy from what it appears in this trailer. He has more of the slope shoulder look that we see again from the comics. So no complaints there. It's still pretty well done with the with the practical effects and giving him the horns, etc. He looks like Hellboy. This movie, however, has a much different tone than the other previous movies. This is going to be more along the lines of a horror movie, R-rated. So I'm interested. I'm interested in this Crooked Man story, and we have talked about this before, so this is a reuse, but it's still worth reminding some folks, if you didn't see it the first time, that yes, this Hellboy movie is based off a 3-issue comic run of the Crooked Man, and you should be looking out for them. They came out in 2008, and you never know, they could be buried out in those boxes. Awesome Richard Corbin covers here, and interior art as well on this series. So, yeah, it's worth grabbing if you can find it. This is issue 1, and then here are the other 2 issues along with it. No other covers, just 1 cover a piece. There you go. This is what you're looking for. With that said, copies could sell for sets, $35. Looks like issue 1 could be $20 or a best offer on 30 there. I know those seem like higher prices because that's what actually sold recently, but out there's cheaper options. Look, you can see issue 1 alone could be $15 to $20, and then the other issues could be like $8. My point is, I'm not talking about buying these online. Dig in the boxes. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe you find these. There's tons. I know you're digging the box. You find tons of those BRPDs, and you just pass them up. Even though they're decent reads, you just flip past them on those Dark Horse books. So maybe mixed in there, you might be able to find the Crooked Man series, because there's plenty of Hellboy out there. Hellboy's been published for years, and there's a lot of overstock filling up those discount boxes. So maybe you get lucky and you find this series mixed in there. All right, up next, we're going to go over to the world of Marvel and look at the Fantastic Four movie. We should be getting, hopefully, some sort of announcement this summer, maybe at Hall H, maybe at San Diego, maybe soon after. I don't know, but it looks like we're getting a little bit of a tease for San Diego, because they're confirming a little bit of news with the Future Foundation. As you can see, they've already got the banners up out in San Diego, as the con is starting in a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks later in July, and right there on the Marvel Studios logo, which is the classic throwback, because it's supposed to take place, back in the day, a little 50s, 60s time frame. But Future Foundation is mentioned right there on these banners. So obviously, it's probably going to be mentioned in the movie. Future Foundation was only first introduced in 2010, May of 2010, in Fantastic Four 579. So with that, you can see the creation of the Future Foundation here. Again, they spend most of the issue building it up, drafting some of these kids into it, etc. Decent read. It was a fun time there for with the Hickman run. There was a lot of interesting stuff being built upon back then. So don't sleep on this, as again, this would be the first appearance of the Future Foundation. It's not an individual, it's more of an idea, not even really a team. I guess it's kind of a team, but I don't know. It's an odd little first, but something you can go and look for and dig out for cheap. And it's not that expensive. Copies have recently sold for $3, $4. You know, it's not an expensive book. Copies are available, are asking a little bit more now, probably because of this news and announcement, as some people are looking more for 10 and 15, up to $20, but there's still cheaper ones out there too, even online. My point again, not worried about online prices. Go dig in the boxes at shops, at the flea market, at half-price books, at Goodwills, yard sales, wherever you're finding cheap comics. This is the stuff I'm telling you to go look for. One more news item I think I got for this week is the announcement of the Kite Man, the Harley Quinn animated series spinoff. Kite Man, hell yeah. Got a poster, got a trailer. It's going to be goofy. It's going to be fun. Yeah, I know Kite Man's already expensive because he's been around for a while. So his first, you're not going to dig out those old classic Batmans. But seeming to have a larger role in this series is the Golden Glider. So let's look for the Golden Glider while we're digging, right? Doesn't hurt. This is Captain Cold's sister, I believe. So with that, she first appeared in June of 1977, which I know is still a long time ago. But issue 250 of The Flash, you can sometimes dig out these old Flash books just buried in those boxes. They might not be in the greatest shape, but you can still have some fun going out there and digging and find some of this stuff for cheap. So Flash 250, she's right there on the front. She's right there with her brother. And you even get next Flash's newest foe, the Golden Glider, down in that little box below. So that helps you know DC wasn't shy about their introductions of new characters. So they announced it right there on the cover back in the day. Kind of wish they did that again today instead of this slow-played cameo, first cover, cameo, later, shadow pick, and then we have 5 issues that all can be debated as first appearances. It gives me a headache. But with that said, go look for this book. See if you get lucky and find it. We're talking about, copies could be as cheap as $5, $15, as high as $40, and that's only for very fine. It's an older book, so the higher grade you're going to get better value out of it. But you could still find some cheapies out there, some banged up copies. Copies listed again, $15 to $20 in most cases, but could be as cheap as $3.75. Granted, that's a pretty banged up copy if you go zoom in on it, but well-loved issue is still a comic, and it's still a book. Not saying you're getting this to go and invest in. It's just this could be your copy. So you could say you have the first Golden Glider. It doesn't have to be something you're going to go and try to send your kids to college on. It could just be part of your collection. So there's nothing wrong with a well-loved copy, in my opinion. I mean, until you can get a better one, it's good enough. With that said, as you know, what I also like to do with this show and this series is talk about things going on in the actual comics, if you decide to actually open these things up and read them. So some fun things and some fun firsts you can go back to and ideas, etc., based off of what's going on in the comics. That's what we're going to talk about in this next segment. So with that said, this is one of the most stupid-looking covers I've seen in a while. We've talked about it a couple of times now already. This Wolverine Deep Cut #1. I don't understand how he's standing. How he can balance like that, but that's not the point. This is new this week. This is a book that came out, and what it's doing is it's actually following up on an old story. So they're filling in those gaps. They're making a mini to fill in a gap of time that we haven't addressed before of when Wolverine headed out to the Outback. When they found him up on the cross, up on the X. What happened? How did he get there? That's kind of the story they're giving us. The story that kind of kicked off here back in 1989 in Uncanny X-Men 246, where, if you don't remember, Wolverine at the time and Storm had their thing going. So it wasn't just Jean Grey the whole time. Wolverine and Storm, they had one going on for a little while. And this is him heading out to go help out a friend. And then he ends up in the Outback. So this is where this deep cut storyline is picking up after. So if you want to go and continue it and give yourself a sense of what's going on, you can go back to the old X-Men books. This is the book you want to go back to. So with that said, it's not an expensive one. I know it goes back to the Claremont run. Sometimes you can see some expensive asks. A lot of these X-Men books with X-Men 97 have popped here or there. This one, not so much yet. So $2, $4, $5 is what you're looking at. Even online sales, copies available, $2 to $5. Not an expensive book. It's what you can find. So, yeah, if you want to have some fun, go out there and dig. There you go. Also, following Blood Hunt, we got a little bit of Blood Hunt stuff to talk about here as well. Miles Morales came out this week, and if you've been following, he's a vampire right now. This isn't the first time Miles has tangled with the vampires, but he was turned by this character, Reimer. I guess that's how you're going to say it. Reimer. Anyway, that's, I guess, the one who turned Miles in the Blood Hunt story, and he was introduced back in Miles's book when Blade crossed over in issue 11. I think they're up to that was 22 or 23? So it wasn't that long ago. This was just October that this book came out, but you can still go out there and find it. And as I said, inside here, you're introduced to Reimer, the Insatiable One. Insatiable One? Is that how you say it? Insatiable. I guess it depends. But yeah, boom, right there. Get his first appearance. Again, probably for cover price or less if you go out to a shop or go check on the wall. Maybe there's a discount box of like half off cover for older books. You can probably dig it out. You can see even online, $3, $4, $5. Again, like I said, it's cover or less. Even if copies available, $4 to $5. It's not an expensive book. And like I said, there's a chance you can go, depending on how quickly or how often your shop discounts books. This is something you might find overstocked somewhere. So, yeah, go look for it. Go dig for it. And sticking with Blood Hunt, we have Blood Hunters also came out. This is issue 3 of Blood Hunters. And yeah, this is an interesting cover with a lot of blood. You got Doom and you got Hellcow. Get to that in a moment. We're going to start off with Doom, though, because before this issue, which came out this week of Blood Hunters, we're going to actually call back to last week's issue of Blood Hunt, issue 4. And that was here when Doctor Strange is looking for help. They're trying to figure out how to solve the Everlasting Night. And Doom says he knows the spell, but comes at a cost. He's got to be the Sorcerer Supreme. So Clea is going to have to hand over the eye of Agamotto or whatever to Doom, and we will get Doom as the Sorcerer Supreme if they want to and stop this endless night. So, yeah, right here. I must be Sorcerer Supreme. And you see Doctor Strange is shocked to hear Doom say that to him. This was teased, and we've talked about this, I think, on TAC, and talked about this before. Jack came on and was explaining all this stuff. But this was teased back in December in Timeless. So Timeless #1, we got that little bit of a tease. There was also a spoiler cover teasing the fact that we're getting Doom as the Sorcerer Supreme at some point. Here it's coming. It looks like it's coming. So I like this cover. If you can find this spoiler cover, look for this one. But there's multiple covers on this book, and you can find them, basic cover or less for the most part. But inside, like I said, here you get that tease of what's to come, and you see Doom inside the book also holding, the eye. Again, it's just kind of a vision of the future or past or whatever you want to look about it, because this story takes place, it's all in the crazy future, a lot of weird things happening. Give you a headache trying to make sense of everything. Point being, this is an idea that it's not new. We've seen it before, but in the current continuity, this would be the first time we're seeing Doom as the Sorcerer Supreme, right here. With that said, look for this cover. It's pretty awesome. Masafara cover. One copy sold for $1 at auction and $6, which I think was around cover. So cover or less. If you're lucky, available copies, $4, $4, $7. It's not super expensive. So if you want it, you can still find it. And as I said, this idea of Doom as the Sorcerer Supreme is not new. He tried to become Sorcerer Supreme way back. I was going to put this extra stuff in here, but I didn't have time. It being 4th of July, I'm trying to record this real quick before I go out to and have some fun at the pool and a little bit of lunch. But with that said, he fought Doctor Strange before to try to become Sorcerer Supreme. There's also the tease when Doctor Strange was handing it over. He ended up handing it over to Brother Voodoo, but there was a tease that maybe Doom was involved too. That was in the New Avenger run. But even before that, there was the What If story too. So this is, I think I brought this one up before, but what if issue 52 is Doom? What if Doom became Sorcerer Supreme? So if you like the idea of seeing Doom as Sorcerer Supreme, you can go back to 1993 and grab this book. It's still cheap as hell. So copy selling for $1. A lot of like 5 issues of this What If series sold for $1.07 at auction for 5 books. That's what I'm talking about. This is cheap stuff. Give it a read. It's kind of fun. Even copies available are not expensive. You can find them for $3, $3, $4. It's a book you can dig for. You're not going to get rich if you find it, again, not everything has to be about a flip or the monetary value of it. It's also just a fun read and just a fun thing to hunt and collect. So let's just remember that comics should be fun. And speaking of fun, we have one more thing to talk about, and that was, again, teased on that cover, and that's Hell Cow. Yes, Hell Cow, a vampire cow. Introduced in a Howard the Duck story in the back of this Giant-Sized Man-Thing issue 5. And yes, even the title, Giant-Sized Man-Thing, is a bit humorous. But back there, in the back, you can see at the bottom, it says, Howard the Duck battles for his life against the most incredible vampire of all. Hell Cow. I don't think it's named Hell Cow yet at this time, but inside the back of this book, it's a whole story. It's not just like these couple panels. Like, there's a whole thing, and they kind of tell the history of how this cow was turned by Dracula. But yeah, Hell Cow, right there. And again, this is a book. Maybe it's not going to be the easiest thing to find. This goes back a ways, This is from the 70s, but it doesn't hurt to know this is the first appearance of Hell Cow, and it doesn't hurt to know that maybe you can find this for cheap. I mean, it still sells for cheap at times. Look, copies could be $20, could be $10, it could be $5. Depends on condition, depends on timing. It's random sometimes with these older books because, again, if they're at auction, nobody's looking for this book. You're not going to get a good return. But all of a sudden, Hell Cow shows up on the cover. People start looking for it. And then you start getting $20 for this book. But, yeah, with that said, available copies too. They're a little all over the place. $8, $15, $20. You could find this if you go out there looking. And I'm not saying you're going to definitely find it in a dollar bin or anything like that. I mean, dollar bins are getting fewer and far between as it is, but there are discount boxes, whether it be $1 or $2, $3 even, whatever it might be. There's places you can find, even in back issue bins. And the point is, just see if you can find it for cheap. Like, even if you find this book in good condition and it's only listed for like $4 or $5, it may be worth buying it for $4 to $5 because it could turn $20 in a higher grade. It all depends on the copy. It all depends on what's near you and what you find. Because, again, this show isn't about buying online. This show is about me telling you about books that you can go find physically when you go out digging. So keep that in mind. And with that all said, I'm going to wrap it up quickly because, like I said, I got plans today for 4th of July. I need to get this done, and I need to get your Hot 10 done for tomorrow. So enjoy your Independence Day. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. We'll try to get back to doing more regular shows like this and chasing ghosts as I can, but bear with me as I'm trying to work on building out Toy Informer as well. And please do me a solid. Go over there. Give me a sub. Give it a try. Even if you're not a toy collector right now, maybe you'll find stuff that's interesting. I mean, these are toys that tie into our comics, so they kind of go hand in hand in a lot of cases. It's toys, it's collectibles, some video game talk, all that stuff I'll get to eventually. It's just my side little project that I'm just trying to build out. So, again, do me a favor and go over there and give me a sub. And with that said, I'll see you all later with some more content. All right.